Can you see me?
Yes, I can. All right, let's make sure everything's turned up. You can hear me, right? You can hear me, right?
Okay, I could see and hear you. A little choppy, but
Oh, that's just
yeah.
it's not going to be perfect. Okay, so I want to spend 30 to 45 minutes here, well, closer to 30 minutes if we can. If you want to do 45, we can. Because I just want to keep the video as small as possible so when I upload it, it doesn't have an issue. It's been having issues with TikTok. Don't know why, but I'm going to figure it out. Anyways, Larry, welcome to the Industrious Illumination Show and tell us your story.
Well, I am somebody who, after several hospitalizations, had close calls and ended up with an experience that people talk about in the movies where I believe we are in an age of enlightenment. I authored a book that I hope to bring to market soon called Irony plus Comedy Equals Divinity, and was told to find people and bring to the world an organization called Gruntled. You know what disgruntled is? Gruntled is everything synonymous with feeling happy, content, and being blessed. We have four pillars in Gruntled. Number one is that God is real. Anybody wishing to debate me on that subject, I would happily entertain a debate on that. The second pillar is God doesn't make mistakes. If you are black, white, tall, short, fat, skinny, gay, straight, God made you exactly as you were meant to be. Number three in the pillars is the belief that a problem that faces any one of us is a challenge for the rest of us. We have a world that is changing, and history has shown communism did not work. Capitalism leaves a lot of people behind, and countries that have succeeded with socialism tend to have a population where the color of the person running afoul of the law is the same as the person making the law. And they are a lot more enlightened in how they deal with people who, whether through a mental illness or character defect, end up running afoul of the law. And there are some countries out there in Sweden where even people who commit heinous crimes, I believe there are some countries that have a maximum sentence of 20 years. And the time served is in a place that looks more like a comfortable apartment than a horrific prison cell as it is in the United States. The fourth pillar of the organization is acknowledging the difference between men and women in the idea that men bring choices to the table. Women are better at allocating resources. The Gruntled organization would be run by the women in deliberating how to best allocate the resources so that people are not left behind.
So I want to ask you a challenging question here. So I'm going to act like I disagree with you on something. God's not real. What are you talking about? I don't know. I've never even heard of
Well,
God. I believe in Buddha.
well,
Why should,
Buddha is a god.
yeah, so why should I believe? Yeah, but like it's like these churches that believe in what is it? It's been a while since it's been used to be good at 15 and 16. like Corinthians 14:7 or something about the fruits of the spirit or something like that. And then John 3:16, there's legendary articles and stuff like that. And then Proverbs, you know, all those controversial, how do we interpret it? Like the
Well,
big one, if someone commits suicide, they automatically go to hell because they just took their life without seeing it through God.
what you are speaking of is aspects of religion. I practice spirituality. I've studied esoteric knowledge, I've studied what religions, and I find it interesting that in this world, the different religions focus on the differences and they don't build upon the commonalities. I believe all paths lead to God. I don't believe that what we experience as reality could possibly be explained by random. Everything has a reason, and we may never know what that reason is, but just as a cell phone exists, it didn't just come into being. You would use a cell phone, you'd have to acknowledge the creator of that cell phone. We are no different. We exist for a reason. And I believe if we allocate resources, nobody needs to be left behind. For what it costs to fight the war in Ukraine, we could have solved homelessness in this country. I believe that evil exists. I believe there are people in this world that, as long as they have what they want and they live lifestyles that is represented in Hollywood as lavish, the rest of us are looked upon as just cannon fodder. That if we do not survive, they don't care. We have pursued money as a god. Money is a wonderful tool and a horrible master. If you realize that every problem that exists in the world has a solution, the problem that we have right now in the world is the fact that solving the problems of the world will upset the status quo. During COVID, we passed the biggest military budget in the history of this planet. Between the military industrial complex, the prison industrial complex, we squander our resources in such a way that no politician, whether Republican or Democrat, has ever taken a position based on morality. I come from the Philadelphia area and I used to be in the management of SEPTA. After COVID, SEPTA has systematically went around and removed benches from transit stops.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if your mother or my mother was waiting for a bus to go to a doctor's appointment, there is no reason that the transit stops can't have comfortable seatings, can't have annunciators to announce when a bus is approaching, with solar panels, heating, air conditioning, charging ports for phones, and we can reach out to our brothers and sisters in the art community and take it as a challenge that a bench or a transit stop is a public good. So we challenge each and every artist to conceptualize a different bench so that they become street jewelry. That if you ride down the street and you look at one transit stop that was inspired by one artist and another transit stop that was inspired by another artist, it's like the city of Philadelphia is famous for the wonderful murals that are everywhere in the city. It makes the city so much more vibrant and beautiful. There is no reason that the transit system in this country that predominantly serves inner cities cannot be the jewel of the world. There are countries in Europe, due to the age, where mass transit works. You look at bullet trains in China, and they run at speeds that Amtrak doesn't even come close to. Everything that is a public good has been provided at the lowest price point possible to where the people who utilize the system are treated like cattle. And if you look at society, the suburban riders of transportation tend to be white. The inner city riders of mass transit tend to be minorities. And oftentimes it's like two completely separate systems. You will see benches on train platforms, but why would they go around and removing the benches throughout the inner cities? I take a moral stance that if your mother or my mother is waiting for a bus, she should do so comfortably. I take that moral stance in everything that we face as a challenge in this country. Oftentimes, we live in a country that is predominantly Christian, and they focus on the death of Jesus and they ignore the life of Jesus with the teachings of Jesus. And the teachings from around the world, whether it is Buddha, Muhammad, there is morality in the teachings, and that morality has diminished in our society. Everything in our society appears to be focused on making money. And if you worship money, you will never have enough. If you worship God, you will have everything you ever wanted, needed, and desired.
Cool. Yes. So tell me more about this Gruntled you're trying to get up for business and like it's a, you want to run it as a 501 profit C3 company.
We are going to be a charitable organization that looks at people who are having problems, and we are taking the position that you contact Gruntled, we will take on the personal responsibility of solving the problems, whether it is somebody that may be a stroke survivor, a diabetic, somebody with a mental health issue. We need to leave everybody better than we found them. If somebody's having a housing crisis, a substance abuse crisis, oftentimes society has denigrated to the point where somebody is given a list of phone numbers to call, and oftentimes those phone numbers only lead to more phone numbers. And at the end of the day, the person is still suffering from the need. They may not even have the ability to continually to reach out. If you look at technology with a cell phone, for instance, if you have a top of the line Pixel or Apple phone, you have more processing power than the International Space Station had only a few years ago. But oftentimes in a poor community, you see people with what's referred to as Obama phones.
Yep.
The Obama phones are a joke. The only thing that they're good for is to track the people and gather evidence if somebody runs afoul of the law.
Yep.
They don't have much functionality, and there is no reason why the people who are the neediest don't have access to the technology that could.
Okay.
We as an organization are based on morality. And I, as a moral person, believe that I want to experience all this world has to offer. I want to enjoy life to its fullest. If God is real and gave us the lives that we have, then the greatest thank you for our Creator, for this reality that we're in, is to help as many people as we possibly can and enjoy life while doing it. I believe that's a moral position. I want to experience all the wonders of the world, and I want all of my brothers and sisters to have that same ability to elevate themselves, to leave this world for our children better than we found it. The campground rule in its finest. Leave something better than you found it. That's technologically what we've been doing 200 years ago. We could never have envisioned the world as it is today. This Zoom meeting is incredible. We could see each other, we could converse, we could talk anywhere on the globe to anybody. Knowledge is power. There is no reason that anybody in a third world country or an inner city in this country should be suffering. We have a new way to educate a population. We have so much knowledge, but so little wisdom. I faced a physical challenge as a diabetic when I was 435 pounds. I strictly adhered to the keto diet and dropped down to a low of
So
188
tell us about
pounds.
that. That's an amazing story right there because it's hard to lose. I mean, look at myself. Yeah, I'm probably well over 300 pounds, but I don't even try to lose.
Right. And there are minor changes that we could make to go against what we have been told to eat and drink. People in this country don't realize that if you don't treat your food as medicine, you are going to need medicine to treat the effects of the food.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's a conscious choice to make. The information is out there. I tell people if you Google the keto diet, the American Diabetes Association does not put their weight behind the keto diet. And I believe that's because the American Diabetes Association is simply a lobbying group for the pharmacological industry that promotes insulin and different drugs that you are going to be forced to take for your entire life if you are a diabetic. There is so much known to the world when it comes to healing. A keto diet, if you have a proclivity towards obesity or diabetes, proves the existence of God. If you realize that a carbohydrate and a fat cell are molecularly exactly the same, your body is a wonderful creation that if you eat carbohydrates, you are converting the carbohydrates to fat and it is stored for future use. Someone who eliminates carbohydrates from their diet, depending on your metabolism, within 2 or 3 days, your body flicks a switch because it believes that you are threatened by a pandemic or a famine, and you will start burning fat at an incredible rate because you're not taking in any fat to store. Within 1 month of adhering to a keto diet, you will have greater mental clarity. You will drop weight precipitously and you will feel energy. Your body takes in nutrients. It handles efficiently all the vitamin needs, all the mineral needs, and you pass what you don't need. You're not storing fat. And at
Yeah.
my biggest, my suit size was a 56, and I didn't put the weight on overnight. I didn't lose the weight overnight, but a simple change in hidden calories. You drink regular soda, which is heavily laden with sugar. If you were to switch to Diet Pepsi, how many carbs are in each serving? It's the
Yeah.
carbohydrate numbers that you
150,
need to be aware of.
calories, 12 fluid ounces, 360 milliliters serving size, 12 fluid ounces, 150 calories. So, yes, I've been told that by my doctor.
If you,
We all need to learn. You know what I mean?
yeah, unfortunately, we are dumbed down as a society and we are fed the poisons by the corporations. And I honestly believe it is designed to make us weaker and to control us in a horrible way. If you were to make no other change but simply switch to a zero sugar beverage, there's Diet Pepsi, there's Diet teas, and drinks, and Gatorades. And if you find the taste to be unappealing, psychology is quite wonderful. If you were to switch from regular Pepsi to Diet Pepsi for 3 or 4 days, you were to try to drink a regular Pepsi, it would taste horrible to you. Your body will become acclimated to the healthier drink. There are substitutes for carbohydrates. Unfortunately, in this country, the cheapest source of calories is either a bag of flour or a bag of sugar. If you go for the substitutes, you will have enormous health benefits. You may end up spending a little more on the food you eat, but it's sad in this country, most people can't even spell the word avocado. Everything that God has given us is proof that we are given a world that the Garden of Eden is this world. People are given a false belief that you live your life in a good way, you're going to die and go to heaven. This is heaven. We need to take the responsibility of making it heaven like, and we need to take the moral responsibility to make sure that nobody is left behind. So many religions convince you to give away your power, but the power of positivity is real. The power to manifest reality is real. If you believe it, you can achieve it.
I'll give you a few more minutes here because I got some other stuff I have to do here, but a few more minutes here, like till 7:10, maybe 40 minutes then, just to keep it under an hour.
I would thoroughly enjoy taking the responsibility, partnering with you, and documenting yourself every couple days. Take pictures, get on a scale. I did it more myself, and I went from 435 pounds down to 188 pounds. Again, I didn't put the weight on overnight. I didn't take it off overnight. But how I feel now is so much better than how I was. And I think of it as a blessing to teach people. People are taught to take diet pills and supplements, and a lot of that is garbage. Faith and science. Science teaches us all we need to know. A keto diet is self proving. The cost of attempting it for a month is minuscule compared to the detrimental outcome of the carbohydrates in, in our diet. So much, if you walk through a supermarket, is geared at the lowest price point possible to generate the highest profits possible. If you stick with fresh vegetables, good meats, fats are delicious. Years ago, they had a debate where they were telling us to switch to vegetable oil or a vegetable substitute for butter. And it was a complete lie. The food pyramid was a complete lie. The butter was not what was causing the weight gain, it was the bread. The food pyramid that was presented to us when we were younger, I'm 60 years old right now. That food pyramid was a guaranteed formulation for obesity and diabetes. Eliminate carbohydrates, do it as an experiment. You owe it to yourself. We're coming up on New Year's, and for a month, just no carbs and see how you feel. Document it. Be honest with yourself. Don't be afraid to get on a scale. Measure your energy. Realize your mental clarity. And we value what you bring to the table. I want to see you healthy. We need to keep you around as long as we can. I could show pictures. You and I looked very similar when I was heavier, and I never
But here's
thought
the
I
thing:
would be where
you
I'm at
can
now.
you can be a bodybuilder, and God could take you tomorrow. You don't have to look fancy. Okay. Now, I see what you're saying, but God can take you tomorrow. It's his decision. It's not my decision. It's not the roommate down the hallway's decision. It's not the landlord's decision. It's up to God. You know what I mean? Now look at Ricky Henderson.
Absolutely.
Look at Ricky Henderson. Everybody's
Absolutely.
whining over Ricky Henderson dying at 65 because he should have lived longer. But guess what? That's just like Hank Gathers. Reggie White. Reggie White he died at 43. I passed his age. I can sit there and brag about that, but I could be going tomorrow. I got like 8 more days until my birthday, and I guess what? 45 feels good, but I'll tell you what, those gray hairs are going to catch up pretty soon.
Yeah.
Just no laugh.
My older sister passed away at 56, and when
Oh,
I was 56, I was terrified that it was going to happen to me.
yeah.
People focus on age, but it's the wrong question. It's not
Yeah.
how old you have, it's how much time you have left. And since nobody has the answer to that question,
No.
you could live to be 100 or you could be dead tomorrow. The only guarantee is that one day we're going to die. Acknowledging that fact
That's true.
takes the pressure off and gives us the ability to live.
Yep.
I'm a comedian. I love laughing at absurdities in life. And I believe that somebody who speaks three languages is trilingual, two languages bilingual, and one language is an American. I thank God that I speak the language of laughter and humor because I don't beat up on myself every day, as I see a lot of people. I put some weight on, I take some weight off, life gets on.
Oh yeah. Let's do less than 2 minutes to go because I have to keep it down to 40, well, right around 45 minutes because of the video thing. So, but anyway, keep
I
going.
want I want Gruntled to be a positive force for the world. I want people who are enlightened. When you see a problem, when you're driving down the street and you see a homeless person, you know in your heart of hearts that doesn't need to be that way.
No, it
We
needs,
need to take the responsibility.
but you want to
We
know what
we are the government. We need
you
to
want to
take
know what the most
responsibility for
hard part
choices.
is, though. Not to interrupt you. You want to know what the most hard part is? Some of these homeless people have it coming to themselves. I remember when I was in a shelter, right, for 6 months. They're still begging, and what's it called? Penny something, penny, yeah, whatever. It's called bumming, and they just think they can live off. Let me tell you what, you're not going to do nothing around here by living off it, because people aren't going to really give you that much money. What they in the pandemic with all the checks they gave. So I mean, so the thing is, you have to use the resources to get yourself out of the situation you got in. Because like for me, I had a drinking and a gambling problem.
We we need to be the best that we could possibly be, but not just individually, societally. We need to elevate everybody to believe that whatever demons they're battling, they are going to be able to overcome. But how do you teach morality in a country that squanders its fortune to bomb